Everyone calls themselves lazy, but I don't think most people are actually lazy. They just aren't willing to put in the work. When you say lazy, what do you mean?
To me, lazy is it's sort of a choice. To me, it's people know what they need to do, and yet they still choose to ignore it. Uh, whether it's like deadlines, assignments, tests, putting off chores, even simple things. I think a lot of people they know what they need to do. They know the time, the effort that it takes to do these things, even if it's like the most simplest things, and yet they still choose to put it off. They still choose to put it last minute. They still choose to half-ass it. And to me, that's just kind of what laziness is. And I know that it happens to all of us. No one is immune to it. Um, but I think that just at least recognizing it and sort of knowing that you need to just take the first step. That's I think a big factor for a lot of people is just they need to just do the first step in order to actually do. So they say the first step is like 50% of the work. So I think, and a lot of people they just overthink it a lot, me included. I tend to overthink a lot of things, and not actually follow through, and then which just goes into more laziness.
Yeah.
But that's just what I would define as laziness for me.
So I'm gonna be completely honest. Today, after about a week, I I messed up.
Mm,
I had a consistent run in
mm,
the first week of January, waking up at 6 a.m., cold shower, going to the gym, getting everything finished, right? By 7 p.m. ish, I'm back home. I cook, I work on some more things. I had a very good routine going. And the weekend, I feel like I kind of let myself off.
mm.
I slept late. I woke up late. I didn't do anything. And that kind of, I feel like that ruined my momentum. And I feel like that's something everybody should continue to have. I understand it may be the weekend, it may be
Mm,
the time to rest, but when you have a momentum going and then all of a sudden you have this switch of just kind of having that relaxation stage,
mm,
that really just kind of ruins the run that you're going at. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I feel like we should continue that momentum
Mm,
and continuing the momentum, obviously, like you don't have to constantly be doing a lot of hard work, whatever it is. Even if it's the most simplest thing, waking up early, taking a cold shower, going to the gym, that is pretty productive at the end of the day. And that's something I didn't do
mm,
during the weekend. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't do it today either. And that's
mm,
something I very heavily regret. But I know once I get back on track, I'm going to continue that momentum.
mm.
And I wanted to ask you, from I don't know how long, maybe around a year or two, you've
Mm,
kept the momentum going, waking up early, praying,
mm.
and going to the gym. How do you keep this momentum continuously going?
I think that for me, it's more of a you have to sort of build it into your routine that you cannot function with your day unless this thing has been done, and that's something that I really try to go for. So for me, the basic things: waking up early, going to the gym in the morning, these kind of things I have to do in order for my day to continue, because I know that if I miss a day where I know I should have been waking up early, or I know that I should have been doing this, I should have been going to the gym, um, I know that the rest of the day isn't the rest of the day isn't gonna align with what I want. And I think for me especially, having the morning routine is so crucial because it sets the mood for the rest of the day. And I'm very guilty of this. I know that if I mess up, if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I will probably do worse than I expected that whole
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I
I'm not
agree.
gonna get
I
stuff
agree.
done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel horrible for it too. I'm gonna
Mhm.
feel like I missed the gym this day. There's no really point. I'll try tomorrow. But that kind of mentality is what kind of it doesn't help you in any way, to be honest. So I think for me, it's more so you have to build it so much into your routine that you physically cannot move on with your day unless you do it. Like for some people, like going to the gym, they for me, they feel so much better. They put it in so that it affects their emotions, which for some it seems extreme, but for others it's a way to literally regulate how they feel for the rest of the day, the week. Um and yeah, it's just for me, it's just building it into your routine, really.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
I honestly I agree with that part because, bro, once I messed up that momentum, like, bro, today, for example,
Yeah.
bro, I don't feel accomplished because I didn't wake up early. I didn't go to the gym.
Mm.
Right after this podcast, I'm going to the gym 100%. But
We'll see about
I hope so. But because of that one slip up, that one mess up, like my day doesn't feel
that.
accomplished. And I fully agree with you on that part. When you continuously do things, and if you want it to be like momentum, where you just want to have it continuously going as a rhythm,
Mm.
you have to show up regardless if you don't feel that well that day, if you feel tired, if you feel lazy, you have to show up. You have to show up.
Absolutely.
Once you show up, you build that discipline.
Yeah.
Once that discipline is built, that's when you're just gonna be like you're gonna go crazy
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah.
and that's something I'm still trying to learn right now, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure even you as
Yeah.
well, right? And I wanted to ask you, have you had maybe this week or
Mm.
last week where you kind of had that lazy day where yes, you had that lazy day, but you still decide to get up
Mm.
and you still decide to get after it. You still decide to go to the gym.
Mm.
How did that work for you?
Yeah, actually, I would say Friday, this past Friday, actually, it was, I think, the second, third day back in the gym after I had sprained my back, and to be honest, I didn't feel like it. I had been out of the gym for like 3 weeks now, and every lift had been so much weaker. I did not want to be there. I just felt so weak. It did not feel good. But I knew that at the end of the day, you always feel better after a workout. That's the truth. Even if it's like the worst workout in the world, you will always feel better after working out. And I did. But I know that it's just like you will, even if taking off some time off. Um, there will be bad days, of course, but you have to go through those bad days to get to the good days. Or if you
Yes.
keep delaying it,
Yes.
then the bad days will just keep continue to pile on,
Hmm.
and you gotta face it head on, unless to get to the good days. To at least for me, getting back to the regular strengths, the regular lifts, and not feeling like a like a puss,
Like a bum.
yeah, like a bum,
Like a
yeah,
bum. Yeah, I
basically,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah. 100%, man. And I like the way you kind of phrase that. But I wanted to ask you about your weight loss
Hmm.
because I know you lost, what was it, 50 pounds?
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
pounds in under a year.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most admirable things ever. And I wanted to ask you, what was the reason for that? I don't want any BS answer. I want a real answer. What motivated you to lose that weight?
It was always me against me. It was always, I've tried so long and hard to lose weight. Um, this started all the way back in grade 5, um, and I was successful with it. I kept it off for a little bit, but then it just ended up getting worse and worse and worse. And I decided that I didn't want to feel this way. I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I didn't want to look at myself and be ashamed of who I was. Um, and a lot of people think that it's a lot of people, and it's true. A lot of people, it's outside, reactions that they feel that everyone else is judging them, which is true to an extent. But I think that for me, it was mostly internal. I feel like I was judging myself the most for the most part. I had supportive friends, I had supportive parents. Um, Maybe not the most. Maybe my parents, they they supported me. They obviously didn't know what was best for me,
I agree.
which is
Yeah.
why I ended up that way.
Yeah.
But I don't blame them. Obviously, it's all self accountability. Um, but I think it was more so I just didn't want to feel uncomfortable in my own skin. I was so sick and tired of looking at myself and not liking who I am in the mirror. Every time I got out of the shower, every time I took my shirt off, it just felt so uncomfortable, and I just didn't want that anymore.
Was it motivated by self-hatred?
To be honest, yeah, yeah, I did, I did, I did hate myself for a long time actually. Um, I always, to me, I was always viewed as the fat kid. Um, I was always viewed as the chubby kid, the guy who eats a lot. Um, and I think that it's it did a lot of harm to my mental health. My confidence was absolutely zero. I had absolutely no confidence to do anything. Um, I would be afraid to even just talk to the cashier when you're going grocery shopping, or just asking someone for a simple favor. It got to the point where I was so afraid of judgment that I would reject myself before anything could even happen. Um, and yeah, I think for me, self hatred was definitely a big thing, especially early on. Yeah.
I could relate to that actually, because I've been a skinny kid my entire life. I'm still a little bit
Hmm.
skinny, but I've gotten some muscle, I've bulked up a little bit, and I feel a lot more comfortable in my skin. And it's the same thing. Like I had supportive parents, but they didn't know really how to do it,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like that's how it is in the brown culture,
Yeah. Yeah.
where they try to support you in their own sort of way,
Mm.
but it negatively affects your mental health.
Yeah.
And that's something that's not looked upon enough. A lot of self-hatred happens because of our bodies, because of how we were raised up, or because of many other things. And that's something I feel like not only me and you have went through, a lot of other students have went through.
Yeah.
They go through these types of things every day, man or woman, doesn't matter who it is. And something they have to realize, self-hatred will never make them grow.
Yeah.
If you love yourself, continue to love yourself, you'll change yourself, because you know, if you change yourself into a better person, into a better shaped person, you're going to love yourself more, you're going to feel a lot better of yourself more, you're going to have that positive energy, that you're just going to feel a lot
Absolutely.
better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, like we can't go back and change the self-hatred,
Yeah.
right? Whatever happened has happened, but something for the students or whoever else is watching this, self-hatred is never the way to go. I
Yeah.
understand a lot of people, they may bully you for the way you look, the way you are, but just know that you are unique in your
Mm.
own sort of way. And if you really love yourself, whether you're skinny or fat, you will change for yourself
Yeah.
and not for anybody else. Not because you hate yourself, because you admire yourself.
Mm.
And I was going to ask you, what are you afraid of? And you already answered that. You answered about how you had anxiety of when you had to go up to the cashier, you just didn't feel safe in your
Mm.
skin. And what was that path like? Like that fear, that afraid that you felt, and how did you kind of overcome it? I understand you said the gym, but
Mm.
once you overcame it, how did you feel afterwards? Did you feel a lot better? Did you feel a lot more safer in your skin? How do you
Mm.
feel now?
I'm not gonna lie, like looks like it will matter to a certain point. I felt so much better. I felt so much more confident, and nowadays I'm willing to just go up to a stranger and compliment them, or make small talk, which is something I literally would have never expected to do back when I was like 17, 18. It's not something that never would have crossed my mind. Um, Now that I know that you know, maybe I'm not in the best shape that I can be, but I know that at least on the outside, I'm someone that they view me as not someone as fat. They don't, because when you're fat, it does speak a little to who you are as a person. Um and it's just human judgment, really. But I feel so much more confident. It's been such a blessing now, and I realize um that your health, it matters so much, and then it shows so much to other people. It shows that you are disciplined enough for yourself. You are willing to say no. You're not giving in to temporary pleasures. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot better now. Obviously we're all working to improve it, but definitely after losing the majority of the weight, it has been extremely uh, an extremely grateful blessing that I have. Yeah.
Was it a difficult journey when you went through these things?
Yeah. Yeah. Because honestly, at first, I didn't even realize it, because because for weight loss you don't really notice so much within yourself that you've changed unless other people tell you.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize how much I had actually changed until an old friend that I hadn't seen for, I think, 2.5 years. We met for the first time, and he was absolutely shocked, because the last time he saw me, I had hair up to here, so I had shoulder length hair. I had dyed it brown. I was wearing these nerdy glasses, and I was about like 215 pounds.
Dang.
And when he saw me, I had cut all the hair. I had learned a little bit more about fashion, a little bit more styling. And I
Looking good right
Yeah,
now.
and I had got contacts as well. And he couldn't believe it. He didn't even think it was the same person. He was so shocked. And that kind of spoke to me about how, you don't see it day by day, but to the outside person, you change so much. And that's really what I see. Yeah.
There's this quote here. It says, lift yourself by yourself, don't degrade yourself. And I feel like this quote really resonates with you and I
Mm.
because it talks about how you should be your own type of motivation, about how you shouldn't degrade yourself because you have been given this body for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And I wanted to ask you, is God a big part in your life?
Yeah. Uh, Definitely. I think especially over this past 2 years, uh, I've learned that you need to have you can't just rely on yourself. Um, you need to have a higher power. You need to have someone who is beyond all of these worldly things, who knows what you don't know, and who you can look up to for guidance. That
Obviously, no offense to anybody who doesn't believe in God. Uh, obviously not. Like we're just talking for our own
Yeah, yeah.
experience.
But I think that believing in God is something that it's helped so much, and it's only going to improve further. Um, but it resonates with so much, because you don't need to be perfect to talk to God, to explain to him your problems, to ask for a solution, to ask for guidance. You just need to be you. You just need to be willing to talk to him. That's what he wants. That's what God wants. He wants you to talk to him. He wants you to explain your problems. He wants you to vent to him. He wants you to talk to things that you probably couldn't talk with anyone else. And that's a big thing that I believe, that I felt that I had no one else to talk to, so I had to turn to God. I had to turn to the one being that could not deny me, that won't judge me for who I am.
Yeah. Wow. I love that actually. I wanted to ask you, was there maybe a point in your life or a time where you weren't as close to God? And I know you kind of just explained about how you had no one else to turn to, so you turned to God. But was there ever a point in your life where you really were kind of oblivious? You didn't really believe that much. Obviously, you didn't know there was a higher
Mm.
power, but what was the really what was the big turning point into you actually like, yeah, God is real. God is in my
Mm.
life. God help.
I think for me, because for me, I was I I was pushed very heavily on in my early years. I was put in, because I'm Muslim. I was put in Quran school, where they would have you memorize the Quran, learn the meaning of it, and it was a full time thing. So I was in Quran school from I think grade 3 to grade 6. So I returned back to regular school after grade 6, but I didn't finish it. So I didn't memorize the whole Quran, which is ultimately the final goal. I was so I got burnt out, to be quite honest. It was too much for me at the time. I was like 12, 13, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much. And then after that, it was more so. And after that point, I don't think I read the Quran until about 2 years ago. And for me, it was such a big time. I had not read it, I had not touched it, I had not done anything with it. Um, and I was so inconsistent with my prayers, um, that it felt so forced. My family would ask, okay, let's go pray together. Let's go to Friday prayer. It felt so forced for me. And it just didn't feel right. And I guess over these past 2 years, it I've learned to that yeah, over these past 2 years, I've really matured quite a bit. Um, and to be honest, when I picked up the Quran again for the first time, I was scared. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to recite it the way I used to. I had made my parents so proud. I was in Quran competitions. I was winning all these prizes, but it like I felt that if I don't pronounce it the right way, then all of that was for nothing. All of their hard work and sacrifices were for nothing, and I had quit for nothing. But I think the one turning point actually for me was because my mom, she has always been the rock. She has been the main supporter in terms of help guiding me, to not force me, but to put to guide me into um God, basically. And so she was doing her Quran class, she was reciting to her teacher, and I think it was in the kitchen doing something, and I had overheard it. And um, she was struggling with the verse to know, she didn't know what was going to come next. And instinctively, I knew what was going to come next. So I corrected her, I recited along, and I finished it. And that's where it was like I'm like, I still have it. I still have it after all these years, and it's not gone. And I think that was a sign that for me, it's not something that should be forced. It should be something that's it's brought upon you for your own good,
Yes.
for your own good. And I think it's the same whether you're Muslim, Christian, or Hindu. I think it's the same. I think if you're forced into it, then it won't be as good for your life if as if you had come to it to yourself. And I think I'd like your opinion on this as well as a
Yeah.
Hindu.
Yeah. I actually had a not very similar, but I when I was younger, I didn't like yeah, my parents like, yes, there's a God, right? You should believe in it, you should pray. But they never really forced me onto it, right? And I think I'm very grateful for that because growing up, I didn't really believe much. Going to the temple, kind of just like, oh, whatever, right? And I didn't really like it much until maybe grade 12.
Mm,
Grade 12, I made a very grave mistake. And I feel like that mistake, it really changed the trajectory of my entire life.
mm,
I had no one else to go to. I had nobody else to talk to. I had like nothing else. And like I was mentally very very affected and I was very hurt, right? I turned to God.
mm,
And once I turned to God, once I started reading the Gita, once I started putting the word of God into almost everything that I talk about, even with my friends, family, whatever it is, my life just made an entire 360.
Mm.
I started becoming happier. My relationship with my parents became a lot better. My body also became better. I started getting stronger. I started looking better. I started actually putting on muscle, and I was surprised by it, right? And as it continued on and on, I made mistakes on the way, yes, of course, but my relationship with God just became stronger and stronger. Each time, each month that goes by, each year that goes by, something in my life happens, and I always ask God, God, please guide my hand. And every time I ask him, brother, he always answers. He always answers. And if it weren't for that grave mistake I made back in grade 12, I don't think I would be in the position I am today. I don't think I would be talking to you today.
Really?
Yes, 100%. I would probably be drinking, smoking, doing something like that. Obviously, no harm to anybody who does that, right? But if it weren't for that day, and like if it weren't for that day, I don't think I'd be the person who I am today. I don't think I would be even having this podcast. And I'm very, very, I think God made that happen for a reason. God saw that I was losing my path. And he made this happen for a reason. He made that mistake happen for a reason. He told me, he's like, now you know why you shouldn't do things like these. It's very dangerous, right? And it's like, give your life to me. That's exactly what I did. Give my entire life to God. From then on forward, my life became a lot better. I came across great friends like you, like Omar, like other people, right? Like-minded people, people who want to work hard. And if you were to ask me, if I were to go back and if I had the chance to erase that mistake, would I do it? Hell no. Never in a million
Really?
years. I would redo it a million times again if it were for me to get closer to God.
Wow.
Anytime. Now that also goes into mistakes in general. If you erase all the mistakes that you've made in the past, you won't be the person you are today. You would not have lost the 50 pounds. You know, whatever it is, the mistakes that you make along the way, that's what really builds you as a person. And that's something that's very crucial. If you're not making mistakes, then what are you doing? You can't always be winning in life. You get what I'm saying? So mistakes are crucial in a human life. Mistakes are meant to be made. Don't take those mistakes as my life is over. Take it as a learning experience. Take it. A lot of people don't do that, and that's something I feel like people have to learn. When you make a mistake, learn from it. But if you make the same mistake again, are you truly learning from it, or are you just doing it because you don't want to learn from it? Your ego is too high. And I wanted to ask you about that. The mistakes that you've made along the way, how has it shaped you as a person?
To be honest, I am guilty of repeating a lot of the same mistakes. One for the weight loss.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
Me too.
It's
Yes.
repeating it. I think if I had truly done it better, I could have been ripped, six pack,
Yeah.
Instagram model by now.
Yeah.
If I'd actually
Yeah.
if I'd actually like followed through properly.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if you're not learning from at least the first mistake, then it's more so ignorance. You're not you know what you need to do
I'm
differently.
guilty of it too.
You know what you need to do differently.
Yeah.
And yet you still continue to repeat it.
Yes.
Now it's different when when you know you're doing it the same, but you're trying to change it. But when you're not, when you know you're doing it wrong, when you know you're making the same mistake, and you know that you're going away from God, you're doing things that you promised yourself you wouldn't do, then it's sort of a disrespect to yourself. You're
Exactly.
disrespecting yourself.
Exactly.
It's and if you can't respect yourself, how can you expect other people to respect you too?
Exactly.
Right? And that's just yeah.
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. Like, if you aren't respecting the mistakes that you've made and not learning from it, right? How are you gonna have other people respect you?
Yeah.
And I fully agree with that. And I want to come into this topic. Do you think if you can lose 50 pounds is studying still hard sometimes? Because you've lost those 50 pounds
Yeah.
because of motivation, because of things you actually wanted to achieve. But is studying still sometimes harder for you?
I think it's even harder because it's not physical. It's not something
It's
that
mental.
it's all mental.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I struggle with the most is the mental part.
Me too.
The physical part is I've been showing up to the gym. Even when I was trying to lose weight, I have been showing up to the gym consistently,
Yeah.
but I wasn't seeing any progress because it was all mental as well. Um, Studying is it's for me it's like a different part. Like I kind of want to like push it away. I think that for me, if I'm just physically fit, then nothing else matters. But studying and just being more in tune with your mental side is so much more important. I I'm I tend to procrastinate way too much when it comes to studying
Twin.
or doing
Twin.
something
Damn
that I need to do. But uh, it, yeah, it's definitely something that I need to work on. But I think that it's the same thing. It's the same concept of you don't do it all at once. You take baby steps. You say, if your screen time is 10 hours, cut it to 9. You know, don't go to the washroom with your phone. Don't eat with your phone.
Yes.
It's those little things that add up, and it all goes back to make it part of your
We
routine.
are guilty for it. We
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 are
are
guilty of
guilty for it.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, we are guilty of this,
Yes.
and yeah, it's I would say it's the same mentality, but with a different focus, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we can say all of this, but it's about taking the action, like you said at
Yeah.
first, right? Remember when you said the first step is about taking action?
Yeah.
Same thing goes for studying. Same thing goes for decreasing the screen time on the phone. Everything correlates. Everything correlates in this life. Whatever it is, almost everything. And it's like you said, you have to take action.
Yeah.
We could say all this, but once we take action, right? That's when we start to progress. That's when we actually start to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We have to take action to it, continue to do it, continue to show up to it, continue to study whatever it is, right?
And they say that like when when you announce your plans, when you announce your goals beforehand, it's as if the dopamine has already been like your dopamine has already been released.
Yes.
You feel like you've already achieved it.
Yes.
And that's like a big thing that my mom emphasizes on me, that don't necessarily announce everything that before you do it. Don't have everything exactly detailed, planned out. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, that. Because then by the end, you're going to feel like, oh, I've already kind of accomplished it.
I agree.
You've done nothing to show for it so far.
That actually goes hand in hand with the podcast, actually. So last year, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start this podcast. I'm gonna get people on. I'm gonna do this, do all that. There was that dopamine increase. It's just like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then once I had everything planned out, everything came crashing down. And I was just like, damn, I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
But this year, I actually decided to take action towards it. I'm like, you know what? I've had enough.
Yeah.
I always say, oh, I'm going to bring my friends, whatever. You know what? I'm going to schedule them. So then I can't flop. I can't back out on it. And once I started scheduling that, like now, you actually came on. You're my second episode.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad you actually came out.
Yeah.
You actually decided to do this with me. Right. And it really and this podcast, the reason why I had this podcast is to get to know other people while also getting to know the similarities and differences of people about their beliefs, spiritualism, or what they would do in a certain action, right? Like laziness. We were talking about laziness. We have like very similar ideologies, right? And that's something that really intrigues me. And that's something I've been holding back since like last year. Oh, yeah, I'm going to start this podcast and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually like glad that I'm doing it, right? Yes, it was hard. The initial step was hard, starting it, right? It took me 3 hours to make everything, right? The Instagram, YouTube, whatever, coming up with the idea,
Buying the
logo,
equipment.
buying the equipment, whatever it was. Yes, it took me a while, right?
Yeah.
But now that I've actually taken action towards it, I feel a lot better. It's just like, wow, I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
And someone I'm actually like doing an interview with. And that's something, yes, there's some dopamine to it, but it feels like I finally achieved something. Obviously, I have a long way to go,
Yeah.
but I achieved that first step,
Mm.
right? And now I have, like, once again, gym, decrease of phone usage, studying,
Mm.
everything correlates. Discipline, continuously showing up and continuously doing it. And that actually, I want to ask you. So back to the studying part. What's the same between fitness discipline and school discipline?
What's the same?
What's the same?
I think just telling yourself that you need to do it today. There you can't there's the same thing, like you have to build it so much into your routine that you physically cannot go on with your day without doing it. So if, say, for the gym, you need to go to the gym 3 days a week. If you don't go to the gym those 3 days, the rest of the week will feel like shit for you.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing. If you have to build in that, say, okay, for 2 hours from this time to this time on these days, I am going to study. There will be no distractions. There will be nothing, and I'm going to do it as focused as I can, because 2 hours of focused work will always beat like 6 hours of unfocused work, and I spend way too much time wasting on thinking I'm studying for 6 hours, but really I'm studying for 10 minutes, then scrolling for five, studying for five, and then scrolling for 30 minutes. Um, and it yeah for me it all goes back to, you have to build it so much into your routine that if you don't do it by this time, by this day, then you will feel terrible. um and for me especially, I'm so much of a routine person that I need to have it in this amount of time, this set time, or else, if I, obviously events happen, stuff happens, you can't do it. If you can't study at 3 p.m because you have an event going on that day, then it's fine. But if you're telling yourself that, oh, just for today I won't have to study, but then you say that again for the next day, it just keeps on cycling, and it becomes a endless cycle. So as long as you know that there of course you don't need to have like a set time. You don't need to say, okay, I'm going to do it 3 to 5 every single day. That's not realistic. It's not realistic for a lot of people. But if you say that, okay, for Monday, I'm going to have at least 1 hour of focused work. It doesn't matter what the time is, it doesn't matter when I do it, how I do it. But if I have 1 hour of focused work during that day, then I can be satisfied with the studying that day. So it's, for me, it all comes back to having it built into your routine so much. Yeah.
I agree. I actually fully agree with that. Because last year in first year,
Mm.
I kind of did the same thing. I was just like 30 minutes of doom scrolling, then
Yeah.
5 minutes of studying, doom scrolling, studying, doom scrolling, studying. You gotta have that one set of time, that 2 hours where we're just like, yeah, you lock
So
in,
focused in, yeah.
so focused in, right? And I feel like that's something we should actually start implementing, right? We are kind of guilty of not really implementing that. And that's something we have to implement. Because what we usually do,
Yeah.
we study like a week or two before the exams, a week or two before the midterms.
Mm.
And I feel like if we just do like an hour of like an hour or two of just straight deep focus, of
Yeah.
just studying way before the midterms, way before the exams, we could be like, yeah, sure, like some exams could be easier,
Mm.
right? But it'll be easier on your mental and
Yeah.
it'll be easier on you if we actually like do it way before, lock in for 2 straight
Yeah.
hours, whatever it is, just deep focus on it, right? And that's something, like, going back to the podcast starting,
Mm.
that's something I actually did. I had like a deep focus of just straight 3 hours of
Yeah.
something I actually wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I just went to it and I did it, right?
Mm. You're not
So
forcing yourself to do it
not
either.
forcing
It's
myself.
something that you want to do.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big part, right? You're not
Exactly.
forcing it. If you're forcing yourself, then it's hard to push even through half an hour
Yes.
if this is something that you don't want to do
Yes.
inside.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Regardless, even if even coming to studying, right,
Mm.
right, like getting a degree, it's something we must kind of do, right?
Mm.
Because we're both commerce students and
Yeah.
we have to kind of study, right? And in order to do that, take action.
Yeah.
You have to take action. Focus on the work, not the result. Do grades results make students freeze?
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes them realize a lot. If you know they know the consequences of their actions, they know if they didn't study enough, then the results will show. They know that what you put in is what you get out, or whatever how that quote goes.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, I think that for a lot of people, their grades are just the end result. Um, I think that if you, I heard if you are really really nervous, it's okay to be like nervous during an exam because it's obviously an exam, it's going to be stressful. But if you are so stressed to the point where you physically think that you will fail and everything is going to be go to shit, um then you know that you didn't study enough.
Exactly.
The studying, all that confidence comes from studying. You know you've done the work. You know you've prepared enough beforehand. That yeah, you're still gonna be stressed a little bit about because it's an exam, but you know that you did enough, and whatever happens is you did the best you can.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, it's not something that they wanna face. They know that they know that it's just a result of their lack of action, their laziness. For me especially, I know that I this summer when I took a hard class, I knew that I definitely could have done a lot better. But I tend to not. I tended not to. And my grade reflected it. I wasn't surprised by it. Um, but I know that if I had worked harder, if I had studied harder, the results would have been different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. Like, if you're not willing to put the work in, if you're not willing to actually study,
Mm,
and then once you get the grade back and you decide to complain, it's on you.
no.
Like, why are you complaining when you know yourself that you didn't study enough?
No.
And that also comes to, if you've done everything, you know yourself you've done everything, you know that you've done all the practice, then why stress more? Just leave it up to God.
Yeah.
That's something I learned from a good friend of mine, Saad.
Yeah.
Saad, he told me, when you finished everything, why are you stressing now? Just leave it up to God. You know that you've done all the practice when you've done everything else. Can't do much more about it.
Yeah. What's stressing gonna do about it?
What's stressing gonna do more about it, right?
It's just gonna make it worse at that point.
Exactly, exactly. Because, bro, once the exam comes, once you have it, and you're just like in that constant minus state, you're gonna forget everything.
Yeah.
Just like that. And I feel like I've gained a little bit of a better grip of myself.
Mm.
Now, what I mean by that, I mean I started to stress less.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever there's exams coming soon, right? Or whenever there's a midterm that's coming soon, I tend to stress a lot less now because I know if I stress more, I forget it all.
Mm.
And yeah, sure, I may start a week before, whatever it is, but the thing is, I put the work in. I actually finish everything. I actually finish all the exam material, whatever is the practice questions. And because of that, I don't really have the stress. And once I do the exam and I get the grades back, sure, it might not be what I wanted or what I did not expect, right? But I tried. I tried my best. I did everything I could. Now all I could do is just learn from my mistakes.
Mm.
Why are you saying, "Oh no, man, I messed up, blah blah blah, whatever," right? If you yourself know you did everything you could do,
Mm.
and yes, the outcome wasn't there,
Mm.
be proud of yourself for actually doing everything.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah.
Sure, there's a lot of gifted people where they don't have to do much, right? And they still get a good grade.
Yeah.
But you actually worked hard for it. You didn't get the grade what you wanted, move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
I think you're the last person to be saying that because you always end up getting a better grade than me.
Well, because I actually put the work
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
bro.
No, that's
Yeah.
true.
No, no.
That's true. That's true.
I put the work in.
Yeah, you see what I don't. So
No,
right?
I'm not saying
So, yeah,
you don't put the work in, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yo, everybody's different in their own ways, right?
yeah.
Because bro, literally, I was studying till like 2 a.m.
Yep.
every day. Like I was just like straight grinding for what 8 hours every day. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't do much,
Yeah.
right? And I got the grade, but I had to sacrifice my fitness. I had to
Yeah.
sacrifice my sleep, and that's something I want to improve on in this future
Yeah.
in 2026. I really want to start waking up earlier. Actually, start studying earlier. I don't want to be staying up late anymore.
Yeah.
That's not really my thing because I have a lot more important things to do in the morning,
Yeah.
right? And that's like when I started doing that the first week, my life felt it just felt life changing. I'm just like, wow, waking up early, finishing all my work, doing a lot of things. It feels a lot better getting the gym out of the way. Then you have more time to do other things, chill with friends,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? So it's like I've put the work in for it, right? Like, yeah, sure, I got better grades, but I stayed up for a while. I sacrificed the gym. You didn't. You
Yeah.
still went to the gym. You still woke up early,
Yeah.
right? You still got a lot done, regardless. And you didn't even get that bad grades either.
Yeah.
You did pretty decent
Yeah.
too, right? So it's like I'd low key rather have that. Like,
Yeah?
you know what I mean?
Really?
I would rather have my fitness.
Yeah.
I'd rather have my sleep. I'd rather have all that while still even like having not even bad grades.
Yeah.
Bro, that's such a vibe, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Grades don't matter, right? This is cool.
I mean, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of like nowadays in nowadays society, from the amount of people that I've talked with who have internships, to whom I've had coffee chats with,
Yeah.
they all have told me like, yo, if I'm being honest, a lot of these recruiters they don't give a shit about the grades. It's about the
Yeah.
connections you can make, how much of an impact you could have on the team, and how well you communicate with them. That's something a lot of these companies or jobs are looking for. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
some companies like or jobs like quantitative analysis, yeah, you would have to need a high
Yeah.
GPA, right? Like
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have to
or
be
like
good at math or
yeah,
you have to be
yeah.
good at whatever it is.
Yeah.
But some of these other ones, these guys like the managers, they just want somebody like, well, yo, you could just vibe with, like, yo,
Yeah,
come,
yeah.
yo, let's go
Well,
hang
you could
out.
like hang out with long
Yeah,
lunch. Like you
yeah,
could, you'd be comfortable with
yeah,
it.
exactly. Like, yo, for example, the internship I had last year, like
Mm.
my boss, he didn't know if I would fit in because he didn't know if I would like vibe with them, right? And I just had like such a great time with them. Like I had fun. I made jokes with them, and my boss was like, "Yo, look, listen, if you want, you could come back, right?" And yo, I'm super grateful for that because you're able to just vibe with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And was that something intentional? Did you know that you're gonna go in, knowing that maybe they don't care more much about GPA, but you know that you have to make these connections in order to get them to like you, get them to see you as an equal, right?
I would say it was natural. I didn't go in thinking about, oh, I got to make this connection, so I'm just going to decide to be funny.
Yeah.
It was more so just natural for me. Whenever they would say something, they would say something funny, I would add on, they would also laugh, whatever it was. I think it's just about you got to be yourself, bro.
Yeah.
If you're a robot, right? Oh, asking these, oh, what is the constitution, whatever the hell this is, right? Bro, they don't want to work with no damn robot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or just like follows orders, doesn't like hang out with anyone, just does what he's told, and
Exactly. Like, bro, they want somebody just like, oh, just be chill.
Yeah.
Like, bro, and that's an important thing in life as well. A lot of people aren't themselves. A lot of people, they do things just to fit in.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing to do. Whether it's drinking, whether it's smoking, whether it's going out partying, if you don't like any of that, but you're doing it just to fit in with a certain group of people, you're in the wrong group.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong crowd, right? You want to be around people you could be yourself around with, where you could actually prosper, right? Where you could actually do things with, and without feeling truly pressured.
Yeah.
That's something, of course, and I'm sure a lot of students could relate, or even like people in general, adults. It's something I feel like everybody could relate. They aren't able to be themselves, and that's a very, very crucial part of life.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with relationships. If you aren't yourself, if you can't be yourself in that relationship, then yo, like, come on.
then yeah, how long are you going to keep it up for?
Exactly.
At some point it will fall. At some point
Exactly.
they will know that your true self. It's
Exactly.
just a matter of when, really.
Facts. Like one day it's eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna be yourself
You're
one
gonna
day,
slip up. Yeah.
and they're not gonna like you
Yeah.
anywhere, right?
They're gonna think, and it's not even on them. It's on you.
It's on you. Exactly.
That's you giving them. You show them what you want,
Exactly.
and if that's all they've seen, then obviously they're gonna be surprised, shocked,
Yep.
disappointed
Yep.
when you show your true self.
Yep. And
Right?
and I fully agree with that. Like I was an example of that,
Mm.
right? And I feel like I really I had to get out, and because I can't be around people where I'm not myself.
Mm.
And honestly, I feel a lot better once I got out of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm with friends where I could be around with, I could talk with people I could be myself around with, and I'm glad for that, right?
Yeah.
God also plays a very big part in that, because
Mm.
every day I kept asking God, please guide my hand, please guide my hand, because I was in a very confusing phase of my life in first semester, actually, a very confusing
Mm.
phase of my life. I didn't know what I wanted. I don't know what to do. Every day I asked God to guide my hands.
Mm.
He gave me more challenges to overcome. And once I got through those challenges, I feel a lot happier, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
being so honest with you, so brutally honest with you. I feel a lot happier. I feel a lot better. Like just mentally, physically, everything feels a lot better for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, man. And I wanted to ask you, so right here it says, when the mind wanders, bring it back again and again. Do you think focus is a skill or is it a personality trait?
It's definitely a skill. I think it's something that you can definitely work on. I mean, there's things that people will truly focus on when it matters to them. For example, like, you know, for me when I was younger, like Quran competitions, I was very very focused on. I would be studying and memorizing, 8 9 hours a day, just consistently focused, and it's because it was something that um I knew that there's an end result. I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to be reciting in front of all these people. So if I don't focus now, then it won't turn out the best when I'm on stage. And I think that helped. I think having an end goal really helps, at least for me, having tune more for like have like training your focus basically. I think having no end goal, having nothing, um it doesn't really push you in a way. I think that focus is something that it's something that you don't turn on and off. It's more so just by consistent action, really. And just knowing that I have to do this by this date. So I have to focus, training your brain to focus in on these um pressure, on these moments where you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling these moments of I need to get stuff done. So if I don't do it then now, then will it ever happen? Will I ever be focused enough to do these things? And yeah, it's for me, I think it's especially when you have an end result. It trains you to focus efficiently too, not just focusing on because you just for the sake of like focusing on your thing, but actually doing it so that you're improving and doing something efficiently, right? Yeah.
I agree. That was good, man. You can lift yourself up or you can drag yourself down. What's the smallest self-lift move a student can do when they're stuck? It's the last question I'll be asking for today.
What can a student do when they feel stuck?
Yeah, like what's a small thing they could do when they feel stuck? Like how could they lift themselves up? What works for you best?
I think just not being too hard on yourself. I think
Mhm.
I'm very very critical of myself. I'm very someone that if I don't do things to the T, that I punish myself a little bit. I say, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that, and then it just ends up being worse. I always kind of like sort of related back to like like binging in the sense where in terms of food, where you know you feel so bad for eating all of this food, so you decide to cut it out all the next day, and then it's just an endless cycle. Then you keep eating, and then you feel bad. Then you keep eating, and then it's just an endless cycle. I think just not being so hard on yourself, realizing that at the end of the day, everyone makes mistakes. You're not the only person to feel this way, to fail an exam, to have a heartbreak, or have anything like this. You're not the first person, and to know that other people have also experienced this, I think you can give yourself a little break, um but obviously, you know, not too much of a break, right? You have to understand that, you know, you have to acknowledge it and then move on. So if you're getting stuck, then you know you give yourself a little bit of a break. You allow yourself to, you know, recollect your thoughts, not be in a state of like panic, where you need to do things right away. But I think just giving yourself a little bit of a break. I think that's really really important, especially now. People are so focused on being so productive that, you know, even a little bit of a break feels like torture to them. They feel like they're so behind they can't have any sort of a break, or else, you know, the day's ruined. You know, or you know, while I'm resting, someone else is working, which is a mentality I used to have a lot. And it's not a bad thing to have, but we're all just human at the end of the day. We're gonna mess up. We're gonna feel stuck, and it's important to at least just acknowledge it, because you can't fight it, right?
Mhm.
And you know, I like that. I like to hear what you think, because I think this is something that it's interesting to a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you with most of the things you just said, and I feel like yes, definitely, you should definitely give yourself a break.
Mm,
And I won't lie, I'm kind of a victim to the mentality where you're just like, if I'm not doing something, I'm not feeling productive. Like
yeah,
yo, for example, on the weekend, complete laziness,
yeah,
and I did nothing. Like I barely did anything, right?
mm,
And obviously, that's something I acknowledged, and I moved forward from it. That's something I think people should actually do.
mm,
If you haven't really done much on a certain day, just acknowledge it and move on. Why are you going back to the past, constantly thinking, "Oh, what if I did this during that day? Oh, I could have gotten so much more things done." What you've done is done. You can't do anything else about it. Move on, move forward. There's multiple other days where you could do the same thing or even better.
yeah,
You know, sometimes you definitely, I do think you do need those days, but you should also still continue to have that discipline where you show up.
mm,
Once again, showing up ties back to everything.
yeah,
So I would definitely say yes, it's good to give yourself a break, but don't let that consume you.
yeah,
Do not let that break consume you from what you're truly meant to do, what you're
mm,
truly meant to be. Make sure, I feel like people should do something, at least even one little thing,
mm,
even if it's just going gym for that day.
yeah,
Do something productive that day just so you feel accomplished.
mm,
And that's something I kind of did. Yes, on the weekend, like, yeah, I kind of did. I worked on a podcast, for
yeah,
example, right? And I folded like everyone's clothes. Like I folded
yeah,
my clothes, everything. Eh, I feel like I did something at
yeah,
least
yeah,
productive. I achieved something. I did something. Yes, it might not have been productive the entire day, but I still
mm,
did something. And that's something I want to leave it off with. At least do something, even if it's a little bit of productivity
yeah,
per day.
yeah.
That ends it, bro. And this is Hamza Yasin. He is my good friend. We are both McMaster students. We're in the commerce program. He has given me a lot of great insights, and I hope this has helped everybody else that's going to be watching this. Yeah, bro. I really appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.